Hi everyone, it's us again. Welcome back. Do you remember Agent 007, James Bond? This world-famous series stars many famous Hollywood actors, including Daniel Craig. Now let's go back to 1965. At this time, there was another actor playing the cool James Bond. His name is Sean Connery. In this movie, Agent 007 Thunderball, we must say that he's the best of the best. Now let's watch the movie together. To begin with, Bond is staying in Paris to attend a funeral ceremony for Colonel Bouvard. After the ceremony, Bouvard's wife quickly leaves the church. She's wearing a black hat and veil, and she gets into a car. She believes that she succeeded in deceiving everyone. But when she arrives home and enters her room, Bond is waiting for her. It turns out that this woman is actually Colonel Bouvard. Bouvard immediately breaks into a fight with Bond. Of course, no matter how hard he tries, he can't defeat James Bond. Bond kills Bouvard and quickly leaves. Bouvard turns out to be Agent Number 6 of the SPECTRE organization. His death doesn't go unnoticed, and the SPECTRE organization holds a meeting. Number 7, Number 10, Number 5, and Number 11. In turn, each report their estimation of, as well as the results of anarchy in countries around the world. But because of his corruption, Number 9 is killed by the leader right on the spot. And this time, Agent Number 2 Largo is assigned to be in charge of the NATO plan. This is a plan to rob American fighters armed with 2 nuclear bombs. In order to blackmail America and the UK, Largo sends an accomplice named Count Lippi to a clinic near a NATO base to make the necessary preparations. Coincidentally, Bond is the same clinic being treated for his injuries. He notices a tattoo on Count Lippi's arm, so he calls Eve Moneypenny to ask her to help him check the meaning behind the man's tattoo. Bond then sneaks into Lippi's room. A strange man whose face is covered with gauze also enters the room to investigate the situation, then leaves. Even though Bond plans to wait for him to leave without revealing himself, he ends up being caught by him. That night, Bond goes to meet one of the nurses. He tries to get information from her, but she refuses. While Bond is receiving physical therapy treatment, the speed of the machine is deliberately adjusted, leaving Bond almost dead. To make up for this mistake, the nurse agrees to sleep with him. Now Colonel Derval is about to have sex with his secretary when a phone call stops him. Just as he is about to walk out of the room wearing a military uniform, he sees a man who looks exactly like him. Lippi stands watching, just outside the door. The secretary gives the new Derval an oxygen mask, a gas bomb, and 100,000 in cash. But he has changed his mind, since he has spent 2 years learning to pose as Derval. He demands to be paid an additional 250,000. The secretary says that she will report back to Number 2 about the new arrangements, and says that for now Angelo should continue acting as Derval and follow their plan. It turns out that Derval is a NATO representative. The operation will take place at an altitude of 45,000 feet and involves 2 MOF-type nuclear bombs. Everything is ready. Meanwhile, Bond is with the nurse in his room when he suddenly hears a strange sound. Opening the window, he sees a corpse being carried away from a white car. He quickly gets dressed and goes outside to check on the situation. He discovers that this is Derval's body. Lippi is standing behind the door, and he pulls out a gun, about to shoot Bond, but Bond disarms him and quickly knocks him out. Turns on the fire alarm and leaves. On the plane, Angelo uses gas bombs to kill the crew. He then pilots the plane himself and deliberately lowers his altitude to avoid radar detection. The plane lands in the sea in Canada and starts to sink. Spectre is already waiting there. Largo steals the 2 nuclear bombs and takes them away. He also kills Angelo, for he has already dropped his original deal with Spectre. Bond receives an urgent call to return to London. As he leaves, he sees Derval's body being transported from the building. Arriving at the headquarters, Moneypenny informs Bond that something serious has happened. All 00 agents are now on high alert. The Interior Minister is also present. It turns out that the Spectre has asked the UK and the US to pay him £100 million within 7 days, or else his organization will launch a nuclear bomb and a city in the US or UK will be destroyed. The Prime Minister makes it clear that this issue is top secret and Department M will be responsible for countermeasures. M sends Bond to see headquarters in Canada, but Bond gave his superiors a document which had been distributed at the conference. He also hands over a photo. He says that the man in the photo, Derval, is dead, but that they can still get some information from his sister. Looking at the picture, Moneypenny thinks the girl will be important to Bond's mission. Her name is Domino. She loves scuba diving. Trying to become acquainted with Domino, Bond helps her get out of trouble while diving. Then he pretends that his yacht is damaged and asks for a ride on her boat, giving him the opportunity to speak with her. Of course, they are always being watched everywhere they go. Bond's every action is scrutinized. Upon reaching the yacht, Domino says that she has to leave and someone comes to pick her up. Arriving on the island, Bond goes straight into the casino and sees Domino and Largo together. Largo arrogantly demands an increase in his reward, and no one dares to oppose him. Bond sits down at the table and wins 2 consecutive games against Largo. Domino then goes to get some wine and also asks Bond to talk. Bond follows her. The two then dance and talk. It turns out that Domino still doesn't know about her younger brother's death and that someone else is pretending to be him. Moments later, when Bond seems to be getting a bit closer to Domino, Largo shows up, seeing Bond flirting with his woman. Largo gives Bond a warning look. However, he still makes an appointment with Bond for Sunday lunch together. In fact, he has other plans in mind. Getting back to the hotel, Bond is aware that Largo has got a man waiting for him in his room. But he's no challenge for Bond. Bond then goes to meet some old colleagues, one of whom is Q, head of the Research and Development Division of the British Secret Service. Q gives him a camera and a watch, which look like ordinary objects, but have many special functions. He also gives Bond an underwater breathing device, which looks like a pill. At this point, the headquarters receives another message from Spectre. This time, they are in trouble. Bond is sent some important information. He dives into the ocean to probe Largo's ship but ends up being discovered by Largo's men. The two sides clash underwater. Largo is watching on a monitor, picks up Bond's position and throws a grenade his way in an attempt to kill him. But at this moment, Bond removes his diving equipment from his body and swims to the safety of a beach. A strange girl diving across the street helps him. On the way, the girl's ring attracts Bond's attention. She works for Largo and her name is Volpe. Bond has now secured surveillance photographs of the bottom of Largo's ship. The next day, he uses a helicopter to look around the island and discovers that there are some sharks being raised in a lake. On Sunday noon, Bond goes to Largo's house for lunch. Bond and Largo engage in a shooting competition. During this game, Largo's ability is on equal terms with Bond's. Bond manages to make an accurate shot without looking. Largo then asks Bond to help him by talking Domino to the annual festival. Bond agrees. As for Largo's men, they make use of the fact that Bond isn't at his hotel, and they sneak into his room. Unexpectedly, Bond's colleague Paula is drugged by these men, and the pictures that Bond took of Largo's ship are also discovered. At night, Felix goes to the festival looking for Bond, telling him that Paula is missing. Bond feels that something is so wrong, so he goes back to change clothes and then cuts the whole city's power off. Now it's more convenient for him to sneak into Largo's mansion. Unluckily, some backup electrical generators are turned on. At that point, Paula is poisoned and dies. Bond has a gunfight with Largo's men. Unfortunately, Bond is then thrown into a large fish tank. Largo then releases sharks into the tank to kill Bond, but Bond finds a way to escape. Arriving at the hotel, he goes to find Volpe. The two of them spend the night together. The next day, while passing through the festival, Bond is almost trapped by Volpe. Bond tries to escape and sneaks into the Kiss Kiss Club, but Volpe quickly discovers him. At this moment, an assassin appears from behind the curtain. Seeing this, Bond quickly uses Volpe as a human shield. There is now 14 hours and 15 minutes remaining until the transaction time. The intelligence department headquarters are in chaos. Bond and Felix land their helicopter at sea and go to investigate by themselves. As expected, Bond discovers the Vulcan airplane, but he has to dodge several sharks. Seeing the fake Derval's body, he quickly removes his necklace and watch. Bond and Domino meet again at the seaside. He gives her Derval's relics and tells her that Largo killed her brother. He wants her to find out when the nuclear bomb will be delivered to Largo's other ship. He then teaches Domino how to use the special camera and kills one of Largo's men with spear gun. Watching from the side of a river, Bond notices that Largo's men are moving some equipment. He suddenly comes up with a plan. He takes the pill that Q gave him. Largo orders some of his men to dive into the ocean. Bond manages to knock a man down and take his position without anyone noticing. The divers swim over to Largo's ship. Bond sends Felix his position. Largo tells his men that they will go to Myanmar after receiving the goods. Shortly thereafter, Bond uses flares to follow the submarines as they deliver the nuclear bombs. Seeing the bombs in front of him, he goes to inspect them. But unexpectedly, he falls into a trap set by the SPECTRE organization. Bond then grabs a spear gun and looks for a way out. On land, Domino is discovered by Largo, using the camera that Bond gave her. Largo ties Domino up. Domino is then tortured and she reveals Bond's plan. Fortunately, thanks to Bond sending his location, the emergency response team find and successfully rescue him. He is not alone anymore and now, the whole group will complete the mission together. Bond tells Felix about the current situation. Knowing that time is running out, Largo prepares to go to Myanmar. The submarine carrying a nuclear bomb is advancing at full speed. Eventually, the British intelligence agency sent elite Hong Kong agents to arrest Spectre's men at sea and terminate Largo's plan. An underwater battle then takes place. Spectre is killed, and Bond narrowly avoids a boat crash dividing into the sea. He then drops the bomb into a deep well. The orange diving team gain the advantage over their opponents. Some of Spectre's men get injured, which attracts the attention of some sharks. The sharks attack the injured men. The rest surrender voluntarily, but there's one bomb left which is taken away by Largo. Largo rushes back to his ship and orders his men to separate the smaller, faster part of the ship, allowing him to quickly escape the remaining bomb. In fact, Bond is already on board his ship. Bond's men come and save Domino. Bond knocks Largo's men out and fights with him. On board, Largo puts a gun to Bond's head. Promptly, Domino comes in and kills Largo with a spear gun. The two then jump into the sea, just before the ship crashes into some rocks and explodes. A rescue plane hovers over the sea. Bond is already familiar with situations like this, but Domino is very impressed by his actions. Finally, the rescue team arrives and takes them to safety. So that's the end of the movie. As it was produced a long time ago, so poor video quality is unavoidable. But like most of the installments in the James Bond series, this movie is still so captivating. So all in all, never mess with Mr. Bond, okay? Once Bond was on the case, Spectre's headquarters were done for. So what did you think of this movie? See you soon for the next video!